YouTube Live. We're going to have a little fun with some YouTube Live today. If you're going to join me today, we are going to be locating some motivated sellers, and we're going to be purchasing a list, and we're going to be using Propstream. This is what I use in my own business. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and log in here. All right, this morning I'm going to find two different lists, actually. One in the North County region and one in the South City region. Reason is I want to locate properties that are under $120,000 values. And if I'm in the central corridor or in the south or west area, even in the St. Charles area, it's going to be very difficult to find those properties. So I'm going to use the draw on the map feature today instead of zip codes. And I'm going to start about right here. And we're going to go... We're going to do that area there. So I just drew on the map over here in Propstream and clicked enter to end the drawing feature so we can start compiling that data. I use Propstream to run all my comps and pull my lists. If you guys aren't using it, go check it out. There's a 7-day free trial. Should be a link at the bottom of this video right here. But it's absolutely awesome. Love it. Been using it for probably about a year. So, let's see, maybe this region is too large. Let's see if that helps. Just search for some vacants here. See, I think this region is too large, and sometimes this will happen. There's a lot of data in here. So, what I want to do is let's restart. Let's just start over here. I'll give it a quick refresh. And let's zoom in here and go a little bit smaller. So like that. Let's see if that helps any. And it did. Okay, so there's still 64,000 properties in this little area right here, guys. This is crazy. All right, so now is where I want to filter. So the area I got, I'm going to head over here to valuation. I want the estimated value to have a max of, let's work myself backwards here. So if I did 125 times 0.7, that's 80. So I could probably go as high as 140,000. So 64,000 records, after I type that in, goes down to 47. Still quite a lot. Let's take it down to 125,000. 43. So the majority of these properties are going to be below that number, I'd imagine. So let's go back up to 140,000. That'll work, but let's make our estimated equity 50% minimum. So that takes our number from 47,000 down to 25. Let's take that up to 65. So that takes our number from 25 to 23. That's a lot of equity. That's what I like though. I want a maximum value of 140. I want an equity of 65% minimum. That's high, but that's great. I may have to adjust that down here in a minute because there's a couple other things that I want to do today. I want to make my bedroom count minimum of 2. And what does that do to my number? It puts me at 22,000. I want my square foot to be a minimum of 750. Anything smaller than that is going to be a tiny, tiny, tiny 2-bedroom. And I'm gonna want, I don't care about my lot size. Let's change this to residential. Probably won't change my numbers much. Owner occupied any. Let's try owner occupied no just to see, but I don't really care for this search. So maybe some absentees on this list is a good way to go in this scenario to get my number down to, something that makes sense. But that's still 9,700, almost 10,000 properties that have a minimum of 2 bedrooms and 750 square foot in the area that I drew, as well as, where was it at? Here it is. A maximum estimated value of 140 with 65% equity. Let's just play with this for a minute here. If I take it to 75%, it doesn't even change a whole lot. Wow. Okay. So I want to get my list down a little lower, and that's even with my owner occupied at no. So it's absentee owned is what that means. The occupancy status is at any. Let's look at just the vacants. It's probably going to be, about 1,200. And I'm pretty sure we've hit a lot of those recently. So we'll just do any. That still puts me at 9,571. Let's do this. Let's take our bedroom count to 3. Just curious, just kind of see. And it's okay to go in here and play around, guys. That's the beautiful thing about Propstream. You can go in there, you can play around, you can figure out exactly what you want. So now, 3-bedroom minimum. I need to increase my square foot along with my bedroom because I don't want a tiny house. Let's say, let's take it up to 875. Not quite 900, but close. That puts me at 6,500 properties. Let's change this to 950 and see what that does. So 6,500 properties to 57. So there's 700-ish properties that fit into that criteria. So, you gotta stay in the lines here, guys. Stay in the lines. What else could I do? I want to keep my occupancy status as any. I don't really necessarily want to target vacants specifically because we target vacants all the time, and I guarantee that there's going to be some on this list of these 710 that I already have. Now, hopefully there's some I don't. And the cool thing is when I go to skip trace them, I'm not paying for the ones I already have. So if there's an overlap on the list when you're purchasing, it's okay. As long as you do your skip tracing, at a place that will not count those against you if you have them. I use batch leads. If you're interested in that, I'm going to make a video about that later today as well. You can try it for $1. Go to batchleads.io/Dave. Get 2 weeks for $1, and they give you like 500 text messages. But today, I do want to try to find a list, and I'd like it to be maybe 2,000 to 4,000. So I need to make it a little smaller. I don't want to really make my map any smaller, though. I kind of like these areas right here, and as you can see, it's pulling in the properties that fit the criteria. So let's take a look at some of our other options. Here's a good one. I like to do the years owned. I typically buy properties from people that have owned the property for a very long time. Now, the caveat on this is if I do that, it's probably gonna filter out anybody that wouldn't have inherited a house. So you're gambling a little bit with the years of ownership. But let's just play around with this. Let's type in 7, see what happens in my list. It went from 5,700 to 2,586. So that's actually right about where I want to be, okay? I'm already marketing to probates elsewhere, so I don't really care if I take those off on this particular list. It's okay. So over here on the right, you can kind of see a summary of all the little things that I've done, right? So owner-occupied property, no. I want them to be occupied let's see, owner occupied. I don't want them to be occupied. So I want absentees in this search, right? And I did that to get it down. If I wanted to get a crazy large number, I could click any right here. Not crazy, obviously, but it's going to quadruple. It went from, 25 to 96. So, 4 times. And if I wanted to do that big list, I would do any. But in this case, I'm going to do some absentee owns. I want to do my occupancy status as any. I want it to be 3 or more bedroom with a 950 square feet or more. And, I may even adjust that now. Now that my number is 25, I may take this down to maybe 900, see what that does to my number here. Probably puts me, a little higher, 2,800. That's good. I like that. I don't care about the year built necessarily, just because the area on the map that I drew, all those homes are going to be built within roughly the same time frame. If they're not newer, there's not anything like super crazy old up there. Ownership years. So again, I could play with this a little if I wanted to. So I got 7 in here. That puts me at 2,800 leads. If I went it to 10, that's older, right? You had owned it longer. So in that 3 years, there's 1,000 people that have owned it. So I want to keep it at 7. And just for sake of experimenting here, let's take it to 5 real quick just to see what that does. That takes me to 35. So there's 1,000 people either direction, from 5 to 7 or 7 to 10. So in this scenario, I'm going to just keep it at a minimum of 7, right? That puts me at 2,851 leads. And let's just do a quick review. Estimated value, I'm going to up that, actually, now that I'm looking at my number at only 2,800. Let's make this go to 150. And that should put me around about 29. It's about 3,000. And that looks good. I'm actually going to add 5,000 more to that number. Try to get a list just over 3,000 leads. 2,957, close enough. All right, cool. So this was the search that I just did, guys. I'm going to do a quick review of this. If you have questions and you're watching live, shoot me a comment, and I can answer those for you live here. But again, estimated equity, 75%. Let's play with that real quick too. And it's right here. Let's take that down to 65%. See if that puts me over. There we go, 3,062 leads. So I have 65% equity or more, 155,000 or less on my estimated value. I have a sales date of yes, but that doesn't matter. Include the unknown sales date. I'm sorry. So yeah, that just includes the dates of people that they don't know. But we're also filtering out anybody that's owned the house for less than 7 years, so 7 or more years. I want 3 bedroom or more. I want 900 square feet or more. Again, if I wanted to get a bigger number of leads, I could reduce those. I have the classification as residential. I'm not necessarily looking for 4s, 6s, 8s, or more in this particular search. I've done tons of searches and have tons of leads in my system for those already. And I have an owner-occupied property set for no, so it's absentee owned. And this is in the area of the map that I drew. So when I first started, I used the draw feature right here. I didn't use a city zip or an address. I just said, I want to buy some houses in this area here on the map. So what I'm going to do to get these leads is I'm going to select right here, and it's got 3,062 selected. I'm going to add a list, and I'm just going to create a new list. I'm going to call this new list North County Sketch, and this would be absentee 3-bed plus and high equity. And you can just make little notes in here. I don't even need the sketch on this one. So North County, absentee 3-bed plus, high equity, and we'll do 7-year plus. So that's just kind of my notes, guys. It doesn't matter what that is and how you label it. That's just kind of how I label it. I also try to drop in the date on when I pulled these leads. So we'll do 4/30. There we go. So we're going to save that to a marketing list. So we added it to a marketing list. And it's going to save that into my list here in Propstream, which I absolutely love for pulling lists and running comps. All right. Let's let this do its thing. Usually this doesn't take very long, but it's adding 3,000 leads here to a new list that I just created. And as soon as that's done, cool, property saved. Next, what I'm going to do is I am going to go into my properties right over here. And I'm going to find the list that I just created, and it was called North County Absentee 3-bed high equity 7-year 430. That's today's date. So when I click on this marketing list, and you can see I got 32 lists in here. What I'm going to do now is I can filter this out. I can kind of look and see what's going on, or I can just literally export all of them. So I have 3,062 leads selected. Let's click on view list filters. Okay, so it's filtering out, or it's giving me the columns of the information that I had, which can be helpful. You know, if I wanted to do a deep dive, I don't. I'm too lazy to do all that. I don't care. But it does show the square footage, the lot size, the effective year built, the assessed value, looks like the last sale recording date, which could become in very handy. However, I'll just go pull this information in real time when I need it, when I'm running comps or if I'm analyzing one of these specific properties. Again, looking at all this now doesn't really matter necessarily. I've already filtered this stuff out in the beginning, but it does show you. So there's a lot of value there, right? So click here. This will select all, and it'll show you right there that it's been selected. And then I'm going to export. I'm going to do a quick export of this list. 3,062 properties exported. So here we are. We have 3,062 properties from my region on the map. I don't know if it's still saved. It looks like it zeroed it out. But I drew on the map. I did the North County area. I did high equities. I wanted properties that had ownership of at least 7 years. I think it was 155,000 or less was the total value of those properties. 3-bed, and I believe 950 square feet. So that's just what I'm looking for today. Every time I come in to do marketing, that changes a little bit, right? And again, I just did the north area. So I got a list of about 3,000 from the north side of town. While I'm in here, let's go ahead and get another small list from the South City area. So we're just going to do a really, really, really quick search in this little triangle right here. And that hopefully isn't too big of an area to populate. Shouldn't be. And again, the bigger the area when you're doing these searches, the more time it may take to load. Sometimes you may have to refresh it as well. Tons of data though. I mean, there's 40,000 houses in that little thing that I drew. An easy way to get around that is just to do smaller areas, guys. Or you can wait. So here, we'll just do a smaller area. I want to really focus. I don't even really want a whole lot in that part. Kind of want like a little area like that. So let's see if it gives me. Boom, it gave me my info. 53,995 unique properties in that area. It's not so small after all. Wow, crazy, crazy small. Or crazy amount of houses for this little small area. So knowing that, before I even start filtering, I might even just start over and just find a different little area because that's already a ton. So let's do that. Let's take a step back here, do a quick refresh, and I'm just going to focus in on a couple little areas that I really like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, boom, boom. I really like this area right here. So let's just select that. And it's still going to probably give me like 30 or, oh, there it is, 20,000 properties. Holy cow, that's awesome. So again, this is going to be a similar search to the one I did in the North County area, guys. So let's do this together here. So mortgage info, I don't really care. Valuation and equity. I want my equity. Now you can do equity dollar amount or percent. So I just kind of stick to the percent. So let's go back to 65%. That takes me from 20,000 to about 8. Let's take my owner occupancy status to no. That's my absentee owns. That's 3,000. Let's take my characteristics to 2 with a minimum square footage of 750. And that puts me down to 300. So that's way too many. So let's put my owner occupancy to any. And that puts me back up to 7. So what I need to do over here is I need to adjust my equity way down. Let's put it at 40% instead of 65. And 65 is super high. 40 is even kind of high. So let's do 35. That's a good amount of equity. That puts me at 1,000 properties. Again, very simple way to see what my search criteria has become whenever I'm modifying. It'll kind of give you a legend or a summary, right up here in this area. So it's 2 or more, 750 or more foot. Estimated equity 35. It might just be because the area on the map I drew was a lot smaller than the previous one. The previous one went all the way up here. It was basically double or quadruple, probably double the amount of size, right? So going back to my filter here, on this south area, again, it is a lot smaller. 1,000 leads would be good, but I want to try to maybe get a little more than that. So let's see what we can do. I don't really want to take my bedroom or my building square foot down any lower. Classification residential, I don't think that really matters much. I don't think it even changed it. MLS status. So again, I'm trying to open up. I'm trying to get more, not necessarily get denser. So I guess what I could do is maybe take the equity down to 30, but that's basically the minimum. I don't really want to go below 30. I need there to be equity in the property for them to need my level of convenience, right? That's what we do as investors and as wholesalers is we trade a super high level of convenience to a seller for a discount. If they're not willing to give me a discount or they physically can't give me a discount, well then why on earth would I want to offer them a crazy high level of convenience? That's what we do as investors, as wholesalers, is we provide a level of convenience that is above what they can get on the common market, right? We are the liquidity makers as investors, specifically wholesalers. We provide liquidity to the marketplace. So let's jump right back in here. 1,137, now that I think about it, for the area is probably quite a lot. It's not that big of a part of town, but I think it'll work. So I got my list up north. Let's get my list down south. So it's 1137. We're gonna create a new list. Sometimes I'll add to a current list if I'm doing vacants or something along those lines where it's just very common. You can see divorce list, something like that. But in this scenario, we're just going to do South City, very similar to the last one, the way that we worded it. South City, high equity. Oh, we didn't do years of ownership on this one. We didn't need to, which is cool. So that's pretty neat, and it's different. So we have a high equity list with, let's see here, it was a 2-bed plus, and let's just keep it simple, and then we'll add the date, 4/30. And you can do this however you want. This is just how I do it, right? So high equity 2-bed, 430 South City. So we're going to create a new list. This one shouldn't take as long. Boom, it did it pretty much instantly. Back to my properties here. Let's find that list. South City, high equity 2-bed. Now this isn't as high of an equity, but I consider anything above 30% to be high equity. You may consider it to be something different, and that is okay. So this is South City high equity 2-bed, and I'm doing, and it's today's date, 1137. Select those and export. So between my two lists, I got 1137 on one, and the other one was what? This one here. That's 3062. So I literally just went in and I found myself 4,200, I believe that is. My math isn't the best. 4,200 leads. All right. So this is what marketing looks like, guys. If you are wanting to be a wholesaler, you want to learn how to do real estate investing. You know, if you are trying to buy properties that are listed, you can do that. All right. I'm not going to tell you you can't. It's possible. You can wholesale those deals, but it's few and far between that the seller or the agent or both are going to basically be motivated enough to let or take that offer, let you buy it at those numbers. The best way to go about doing this, it doesn't matter if you're wholesaling, if you're a landlord, if you are a fix and flipper, it doesn't matter. The best way to go about finding deals is direct to the seller, okay? Wholesaling is a great approach to making something happen from the leads that you don't want. So look at it this way, guys. I love wholesaling. I love it. However, it's a job. It's a lot of work, okay? To me, it's kind of more of a means to an end to go find some really good rental properties or a couple fix and flips that we'll have fun doing. But the cool thing is any lead that comes in, I have the ability, I have the tool in my belt to be able to take that lead that comes in and just go wholesale it. So keep the best, sell the rest. And you know, you can make a ton of money wholesaling. But really, to me, I'm usually targeting in areas that I want to buy for myself. And then what comes in that's not used that way, we will then wholesale off. So, you know, keep it simple and know what your own goals are before you sit down and create a plan to do that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what goal you have. If it's real estate related, part of your plan or your plan should include marketing to find those motivated sellers, to reach them. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So I bought 2 lists today, and I get these lists. I didn't have to pay the list, but I paid to be a member of Propstream. And they give you a certain number of exports every month. So depending on how many you're doing, you know, there's different packages there. So now that I have these 2 lists, what I'm going to do is I am going to add these lists to my skip tracing service, and I am going to skip trace these and get them into my system for one of my 2 virtual assistants to start reaching out to these people via cold call or cold text. Okay, so I'm going to take a break and I'm going to come back in maybe an hour and I'll do another live and I'll record that as well. But this video here was basically just me going into my own marketplace, finding leads that qualify people to have motivation. Doesn't mean that they do have motivation, right? Doesn't mean that they are motivated, but it gives me a basically, you know, a scope of people that could have motivation. And that's really what I'm looking for. Somebody that could have motivation. I want to reach out to these people. I want to let them know that I could solve a problem for them if a house is involved. Maybe that would help, right? And if they don't have motivation today, no problem. We're going to talk to them as well if they want, and we'll add them to our CRM to where we can follow up with them later. The funny thing about motivation is it changes very, very rapidly, right? So somebody could be motivated today, but not motivated tomorrow. Like it just kind of came and went. Or somebody that you have in your system isn't motivated today, and you call them and follow up with them every other week or every month for, let's say, 2 years, and then all of a sudden something happens in their life, and all of a sudden they're motivated. So you want to build that huge list of, or that huge funnel, that follow-up funnel of people that you can put into your system and constantly be reaching back to them. And this is a way to build that system, build that follow-up system, but also get in front of sellers and find the ones that are motivated and help those people. So guys, thanks for watching. Let's take a quick break here. I'll come back later today. I'll take these 4,000 leads that I just pulled off of Propstream, and we're going to go skip trace those, and we're going to start cold texting those in the next video. See ya. Thanks.